Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for already being here. So many of you waiting. This is wonderful. And hi, Joey. Hi, Miss Annie, Ursa Seven, Poonam, Shirley. Who else we got? We've got, anyway, loads of you here. Andy Walsh sends her apologies because her little one is playing ringette or watching ringette. I'm not really up to speed with these kind of games that kids play in Canada. So she's going to catch us up later when she can get the replay. But she said to say hello and sends her love to everyone in the Soul Fam. Oh, Poonam, thank you. I just, put a little bit of blusher on and a bit of lipstick and a bit of eyeshadow and a bit of foundation and a sparkly top because it's nearly Christmas. So thank you. Hi, Cosmic BL. Well, today is the full moon in Gemini. And you know what? For once, we have a really easygoing, very comfortable full moon. I don't know how any of you are feeling out there, but please let me know in the chat. And I offered to do a tarot card for the week. I will do that at the end of the astrological overview for the week. And I also have a word for the week with the relevant quotes to accompany it. So it's really good to see so many of you. Hey, AMAC, good to see you. And so how is everyone? How did you feel with the build up to this particular full moon? Because we also have Mercury, our planet of communication, going direct today, which is interesting because it rules Gemini where the full moon is. And I find that and these kind of things quite funny. You're howling. Okay, Cosmic BL. Well, there's nothing like a good howl. Good morning, Parry. Good to see you here. A fairly chilled Ursa 7. That's cool. That's cool. I'm glad to hear it. Poonam, you finally feel less uptight. That sounds like good news because this full moon is about communicating and communication. And of course, the sun is in Sagittarius, which is about the kind of higher frequencies of spirituality. It's also about truth. It's also quite a fun sign to the kind of borders of it sometimes being a little bit too overbuoyant, because Sagittarius can get a little bit carried away. And because Jupiter is Sagittarius's ruling planet, which is about expansion and luck and opportunity, then sometimes with Sagittarius, one can just overindulge in things that aren't good for us, like alcohol or non-prescribed medication. So that's just a little sideline or tidbit about what Sagittarius can be like. Laurie, hi. It's good to see you as well. Oh, thank you. Well, the full moon in your sign today. I love you too. In fact, I love all of you, and I love the fact that you're all here. And have any of you had a chance yet to look at my 2025 overview for the year, which is, I'm afraid, extremely long, and you might want to skip bits and go to the chart that I do at the end, where I look at the year ahead from a chart's perspective. And obviously, you've got all the individual zodiac signs, which are time linked underneath in the description box of the overview. And Poonam, your name means full moon. Oh, wow. That's awesome. I love that. Yes, Cosmic BL. Sags like to party. Party time. It's fun time. It's just that Sagittarius sometimes doesn't know when to stop. They're not so good on the boundaries, and Sagittarius also is because it's mutable energy. It's not always good at making its mind up. So it's interesting that we have this kind of energy again all week because the sun is obviously in Sagittarius. And then at the weekend, next weekend, we have, of course, the winter solstice, when the sun will glide seamlessly into the sign of Capricorn, which makes us all think, oops, better slow down, better not eat and drink too much before Christmas, better leave a little bit of room in the tummy for all those goodies that are going to come over Christmas. So it's hang on, what are you saying, Laurie? You're just looking at the Gemini part, looking to the complete overview, and oh, bless you. It was a marathon. It was a megathon marathon. I mean, it's about 13 and a half hours worth of video, and it was quite something. But I love doing it. And so if you've just joined me and you haven't heard me saying, please check out the overview for 2025, which is now available on my channel. And there's a little fly, and all your individual zodiac signs are linked in the description box underneath the overview video. So I've done every single sign. Remember to check out not just your sun sign, but your rising sign if you know it, and also your moon sign, because that can give you a very interesting and different perspective. So we've got, oh, Rosie, you've just watched Libra and you're halfway through the Scorpio. Fantastic. And Joey and Cosmic, you listen to Scorpio. Okay. So listen, let's have a look at this full moon, because we're still in the energy of it, and it is a beautiful full moon. I mean, it should be, I can't quite see, but I should be able to see it from my living room windows. And Poonam, yes, you do have two rising signs, where you were born and where you are now currently living. The one where you are currently living is the most appropriate, because remember, a forecast is about what's happening now. So your rising sign where you were born is more about your character and the kind of personality you have that takes you through your life. So your rising sign where you're living is more appropriate for looking at what's going to unfold this year, if that makes sense. So, the sun today in Sagittarius, remember, is coming up to be conjunct the galactic center. And within that, and the galactic center, remember, is like the center of our galaxy, of our Milky Way. And it's like we're all swirling round the galactic center. And the wonderful thing about the galactic center is I describe it as a kind of lung that is breathing in, is pulling in all the negative from the galaxy and pushing out. It's like it cleans it and then returns it to us positively, kind of refreshed and renewed. So it's got a lovely kind of, I feel, this is just my intuitive interpretation, I just feel it has a wonderful energy, and that the fact that the full moon is in an opposition in Gemini to the galactic center. Now, because this is a full moon in many ways about relating and relationship and communicating, because Gemini is about duality, the two, the twins, then this really has been and still is a good weekend for good, sound discussions with significant people in your lives, be it your partner, a good friend, a business partner, a family member. This is the opportunity today and over this weekend to heal some of the difficulties that may have been festering around in the past, and there hasn't been the right opportunity to address them. You see, Neptune, now direct in Pisces, is actually making what we call a T-square to the sun and the moon in Sagittarius and Gemini, respectively. So Neptune, remember, in Pisces, which it rules, is about dissolution. It's It's about confusion and not seeing things clearly. However, this is a full moon. So the sun is shining light on communication to do with duality situations, okay? And Neptune, because it's now direct in the sign it rules, is saying, here is the clarity that you have been seeking. So it's this full moon can bring some closure to situations, issues in your life with another that have been very unclear, unsteady, and difficult and complicated. So it really is very kind of helpful. So the interesting thing, of course, is that Mercury, our planet of communication, goes direct also today. It goes direct a little bit later than the full moon. Just having a drink. Water, I hasten to add. I love this, Parry. Our galaxy is always changing and evolving with the energies of power and balancing our particular solar system and the Earth with our solar activities, changing our own unique ways of being. Beautifully put, Parry. I love that. And also, I just want to mention before it goes out of my mind that one of you mentioned that in America at the moment, there are a lot of unidentified aerial phenomena in the form of potential drones, UFOs. It's unclear. Now, whether these are Earth-made or coming from another dimension potentially, or coming on a frequency of light from other dimensions. And if you want to know more about this kind of energy, hop over to my new channel called Channeling by Penny and Sarah, because we talk about some experiences that we have personally had around seeing UAPs and UFOs in the sky over Gozo. And it's been quite extraordinary. And the images we've seen when we've enlarged what we've taken pictures of. But I'm not going to talk about it here. You have to go over to my other channel. And whilst you're there, if you've not subscribed, we'd love it if you'd subscribe. So I just want to see what you're saying. Drones over our military facilities. You think it's China, Maggie? Okay, could well be. Lots of drones, you're saying, Poonam. Cosmic BL, your computer broke down during one of the recent lives. So you've got to use your phone. Oh no, that's a real bummer. Hi, I Revenge. Good to see you here. Certainly, Parry, we are definitely not alone in this world. We are just, as Parry's put it, stardust. And drones over New Jersey. And Joey, you live near Sedona and the skies are always interesting. I want to visit Sedona. It's on my bucket list. But Mercury going direct today is actually, when it goes direct, it trines, which is a positive, helpful aspect, retrograde Mars in Leo, our planet of energy, action, assertion, the physicality of ourselves, our physical bodies. Now remember, Mars is now retrograde and it's staying retrograde till I can't remember, because of course I've done the overview for 2025, but do you think I can remember anything I said? Absolutely not. So so Mars is retrograde for a while, and Mercury trining it is saying, do you know what? I think there is information that is going to come out over the next few weeks that is about, it's about what's going on at home, but I mean at home on our planet. And it could well be to do with this, what is happening with the amount of drones, whatever they may be, wherever they may be from, are coming. And maybe there is information that is going to unfold, that we are going to find out about these drones, and we will, and that will become clearer as time passes. Now, what I find super interesting is that Mercury, of course, now direct in Sagittarius, is going to be moving forward over the next few days and a couple of weeks until it will actually be conjunct the galactic center. Now, let me see if I can just find the date when it's conjunct the galactic center, because you know what? I think that is when we find out what these drones are about. So just bear with me a minute while I go to Mercury. So let's see. Mercury. We have to go to January 2025. And okay, so round about January the 21st, okay. No, it's gone into, no, I'm wrong on that. Okay, Mercury enters, oh, it goes, okay. So, okay, round about the end of the year, so 30th, 31st, Mercury will be conjunct the galactic center. Oh, that's interesting, Maggie. You believe we're in a state of undeclared war during your American Pluto return. Prices are blisteringly high, 3% up on last month. That's exorbitant. That's terrible. And I think that round about the end of the year, we've also got round about the end of the year this Mars-Pluto opposition again. Something is going to come to light because Mercury will be conjunct the galactic center. It will be pulling out energy from that source of information, and it will be actually available to us to kind of download, whether that is via channeling, whether it is through our dream state, whether it's through something that actually becomes quite available through technology, will be very interesting to see. Yes, Parry, you're right. It's important to not get carried away by the influences of the outside world and the news. And yes, Cosmic BL, I really hope you get everything fixed. I think you will now that Mercury is going direct again today. And so Mercury direct, as I say, it's trining Mars, and for you guys over in the States, for me, it's the end of the day. It's 6:20 in the evening. I'm going to have a little light supper and go to bed when I finish this, because I've had a really busy week, because I think you remember I've had a friend staying all week. So I'm exhausted and I just need some early nights to recover. So I'm going to move on. And I'm going to move on to the 18th of December, because the Sun in Sagittarius is going to be squaring Neptune in Pisces. And this is on the 18th of December. And Lilith is also opposite Chiron. Now, let me explain. So the Sun is still in Sagittarius, and it is exactly conjunct the galactic center on the 18th of December. Mercury is still trining Mars. So we've got that helpful, supportive energy coming. So the 18th, make a note of the 18th, 15th, 16th, 17th, that's Wednesday, isn't it? The 18th. So make a note of the 18th. Interesting day. Now, the Sun conjunct the galactic center, squaring Neptune, that is direct in Pisces, that is also, of course, squaring the galactic center. Remember, the Sun is our soul. It's our life force. It is that part of us that it's our beating heart. It's the beating heart of our solar system. And it's squaring Neptune, which means there is something about the energy on the 18th where we are it's smoke and mirrors. The information that is being given to us is not clear, it's not true, it doesn't feel true, it doesn't sit right. Now, whether this is on an international level, on a planetary level, it may also, for some of us, be on a personal level that we think, now that doesn't sound right. I don't quite think I agree with that. There's an element of that kind of energy around. And I think this energy is going to be quite challenging, because also this day, Lilith, remember Lilith is like the dark feminine, but the powerful, potent, sexual, divine feminine. That part of the feminine that I think is quite scary to most men, because it is almost like, the woman, the feminine, carries the womb, carries the child, carries the mystery of life is within the belly of the divine feminine. And there is something about this mystery that can be quite uncomfortable and, as I say, scary for the divine masculine, unless the masculine is well evolved and mature. And this is what we are trying to encourage the collective consciousness to move towards a harmony and balance of the divine feminine with the divine masculine, so that there is no fear, so that there is the conjunctio, the joining of the masculine and the feminine in harmony, in a state of stasis. So Lilith is the dark feminine, but she is in Libra, which is about relationship and relating. She is in opposition on the 18th to Chiron, retrograde in Aries. And of course, Chiron is that wound that we carry from birth, that trauma, that real kind of inner wound that somehow someone will always find our vulnerable spot at some point, and we'll feel our eyes welling up. And Lilith, in opposition to Chiron, is saying that we have the opportunity on the 18th of December to go some way towards healing rifts, difficulties, deep, deep wounds in our personal relationships. It's really beautiful energy for doing that. It might be challenging, it might be difficult, it will involve tough discussion, but it's tough discussion to take you to a conclusion, to take you to a point where you can both move forward and feel that healing energy coming into you from the galactic center. Hello, Haina Wasim from Islamabad, Pakistan. It's so good to see you here. Namaste and welcome. And so pay attention to what's happening on Wednesday, the 18th. Now, then we skip on quickly to the 20th of December, when Venus, our planet of love, relationship, of self-worth, of value, is in Aquarius, which of course keeps the feminine aspects of Venus a little bit remote and untouchable in Aquarius. And she is trining, which is helpful. Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. Now, Jupiter, remember, is our planet of luck, of opportunity, of expansion. And Jupiter is retrograde in Gemini, the sign of communication and duality. Now, this again invites constructive, productive talk, which is full of joy. Full of joy, this wonderful feeling. And it feels as if these wounds that are being opened up and gently looked at to see if the healing can take place is actually making some progress with the process of healing. Now, also, we have to remember that ongoing through this week, we still have the energy of retrograde Jupiter in Gemini squaring Saturn in Pisces. And this square is getting stronger and stronger as the days go on. So what does this mean? Well, Jupiter, as I said, is about expansion, luck, and opportunity. It's in Gemini. It can overthink. It wants to talk. It really wants his energy to be felt, to be the joy of Jupiter wants to be expressed. But a square, which is hard and challenging, to Saturn, which reduces, contracts, sets down boundaries, says no and stop. And Saturn in Pisces flounders a bit as it tries to make sense of the emotional depths that Pisces represents, the spiritual and psychic depths that Pisces represents. So we're going to have this tension, this real tension between Jupiter and Saturn. And this is going on all week, and it's growing in strength as we head towards the winter solstice next weekend. Now, I just want to remind you that the next live on the 21st, I will go in depth into the winter solstice energy and that point in time and how we can expect it to affect us over the coming months. And also this coming Friday, the 20th, I will be doing a live stream simultaneously on both channels with conscious medium Brandon Russ. Some of you love him, some of you hate him. I love him, and I love the fact that we absolutely clash on so many things, which makes such an interesting discussion. And we both relish your challenges and the fact that some of you really find him hugely irritating. And we're going to do this live stream and we're going to look at the winter solstice and we're going to look at it with regard to what is happening to the United States, because the United States are almost going through a kind of symbolic rebirth. And I think the United States needs to be a kind of world focus to be nurtured and cared for the wounds to heal, and this huge divide between the Democrats and the Republicans, for there to be a way for you to meet in the middle and have that divine feminine, divine masculine conjunctio, because it's only that way that you can all move forward together and help the rest of us. Because remember, the rest of the world, well, except for Russia and China, and maybe Iraq and Iran, the rest of the world, we need you. We need a strong United States of America. Please don't let the rest of the planet down. So we have, as I said, this Venus trine Jupiter in Gemini and the Saturn square Jupiter. So just be aware of that. What are you saying, Maggie? It's gone past all that. Are you saying, Maggie, that you think this is going to get worse before it gets better? I'm curious because I really hope that we can shift timelines to a timeline where we use communication in a productive way to solve the issues brought about by the division of people in the United States, to get to the point where you are able to listen to each other and people do not stay in this kind of absolute stalemate situation. Here, I'm just reading what you're writing, Cosmic BL. A very old and very unfair agreement for the distribution of electricity has literally been cancelled and a new fair and reasonable one was signed. Manuela, you love Penny and Brandon talks. That's lucky there's one of you then, or there were two of you. I think, Shirley, you said you love Brandon. Oh, and Megan Poog, you love Brandon as well. You think he's a sweetie. Maggie, you like him, but you disagree with his beliefs. That's fine. We're all entitled to our own beliefs. And, before we do our lives, I always say, Brandon, please try and keep it a little bit neutral. Try not to kind of show your own personal bias. But he can't. He has to show his personal bias. You know what? That's okay. I am the kind of balancing energy in our talks where I try and be devil's advocate and try and get him to look at both sides of the story. So we're doing that. I think it's 5 o'clock Central European time, which I think is 11 o'clock Eastern time, and an hour beforehand as you go west across the states. Yeah, Ursa 7, Jupiter versus Saturn, Cosmic BL, Brandon's the real deal. And if you watch this, Brandon, hello, honey. Looking forward to seeing you on Friday. How do we determine the rising sign according to our current location? Listen, Hina, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, if you go to my website, I have actually got a rising sign converter. However, if you're struggling, just drop me an email at penny@pennydix.com. Give me your date, time of birth, and location. I can work it out in 2 minutes and I'll send it back to you. And, it's free. Penny Hudson, hello. It's good to see another Penny. I love pennies. Pennies from heaven. Every penny you meet is a penny from heaven. Let's just move briefly on to the winter solstice, which is Saturday, but I am going to talk about it in more depth next Sunday, which is the 22nd. But the winter solstice is quite interesting because we have a Saturn moon opposition. And I think that's quite powerful because I think there's going to be a feeling of dread about what's going to unfold over the winter months. I think people are going to be feeling restricted, unheard, unlistened to. I think there's going to be a lot of overthinking. So these are the negatives. So I'm doing the negatives first, and then we'll go to the positives. Don't forget there's positives too. And I just want to see what you're saying, Parry. The power of the people is essential for our well-being and our civility. Communication skills and listening deeply are always essential for our best interests and for our success. If only everyone could see that there are always two sides to a story. The problem is we have this polarity and this polarization at the moment. And, I'm inviting the United States to look at their polarized views and see if you can somehow be your own devil's advocate. At least try. I know it's not easy. And I think there's been so much hurt, so much damage. I think the whole of the United States, quite frankly, is suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, from a multitude of terrible events that have unfolded over the last 25 years, including 9/11. And in a sense, it started with 9/11. And I think that was a tipping point, and obviously going into Afghanistan and Iraq, and there's just been it's been a terrible 25 years for the United States and for the rest of the world. And we need to learn and find a way to start healing from this. So this winter solstice will also, of course, have this growing nearly exact square between Saturn and Jupiter. So you've got Saturn in Pisces, and there really is going to be a feeling, I think, of injustice and another kind of group of people kind of saying, hey, we can do this, we can get out of this, we can overcome anything. And there is going to be dissension. And I wish I could bring the goodest news, which is not a word, but we have to be realistic. And I think, yes, things are going to get quite tough before they improve. And I really hope that people can sit down around a table and find a way to communicate in sensitive ways. And I'm seeing what you've written. Okay, Maggie, the JFK assassination. Yes, you're probably right. I mean, most of us were probably too young to remember that. I think it was 1963. I was a 55 baby, but I do remember my parents crying. And it's a very vivid memory. And I thought, why is mummy and daddy crying? And some poor man had been shot and I didn't understand. But it shocked me as a child to see the shock and the terror that my parents felt. So I think it is, hi Maggie, you're exhausted, but you chose to be here now. And that is a very good point, Maggie. We all chose to be here now, which means we also have the solution. Don't get stuck in the problems, guys. Look for the solution. When we get stuck in the problem, we can't find a solution. And this particular solstice has very powerful energy. It's quite fixed. I think it's going to be a while before we can get flexibility, mutability into the collective consciousness. I do feel that, unfortunately, there is going to be a lot of struggle communication-wise and with regard to just the events that are going to be unfolding on the world stage. And coming back to what I was saying about timelines. Now, it was interesting. I was listening to a Molly McCord earlier today. I love listening to Molly McCord. If you've never caught any of her videos, they're really worth listening to. She's a wonderful astrologer. And she was talking about this. You can actually sense when we as a collective shift timeline. And I recently have had several strange occurrences where I think, whoa, in that nanosecond, I've shifted a timeline. One was extraordinary, and it was only a few days ago. It was Friday. And I was getting ready to actually, me and my friend were going to Malta and spending the day in Malta and staying the night because my friend had a flight back to England the following day. And as I was getting ready in the morning, I was just, putting a bit of makeup on and looked away. That was it. Looked back, and suddenly I've got blood rolling down my eyelid. And I'm thinking, WTF, that emoji? I thought, what is going on? Because there'd been no spot there or scab or anything. And now there was a great big spot that had just appeared out of nowhere. And in that nanosecond, I thought, I've shifted a timeline. For some reason that will become clear, I have shifted a timeline with presumably everybody else that I'm with. And I have to say that some of the events that have been unfolding for me are certainly very contrary to the timeline I probably thought I was on a few days ago. So it is a very interesting, and I think it's a subject that I will choose to talk about with Sarah on our channel, Channeling with Penny and Sarah, because I think the blue light beings will be able to give us a lot of information about this shifting of timelines. And I just want to see what you're saying. Cultivate a good reminder, Maggie. Yeah, okay. Speaking of timeline, Poonam, you felt like I was in a time loop last week. An event repeated within 5 minutes. I was dumbfounded as to see the repeat of events in front of me. Yeah, that happened to me as well. It is extraordinary. And hey, Andy, there you are. Oh, it's good to see you. And Janice, you're in velvet today. How lovely. I love velvet. And you stood your ground and you're staying home for Christmas. It wasn't working for you at friends' house, going it on your own. Have it planned. Love it. You know what? Do what you want to do. Don't do what other people want. Christmas, we should be happy. So do what makes you happy. So Susan, you were 5 years old when JFK was killed. Susan Fabian. Yeah. Yeah, it was Joey. You think you did something like that yesterday. You made a cup of tea, but it disappeared. Found the cup 15 minutes later with coffee in it. I know, and I think that this is a huge thing, and this is going to become more apparent as we move with Pluto into the sign of Aquarius. It's really going to be part of this energy, and I'm going to do more of this in videos next year because there is so much to say. Moon, looking so elegant and beautiful, Penny. Your 21-year-old fan. Oh, wow. Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Katie. Thank you. It's a Deanne von Furstenberg, no less. And actually, my friend Sarah gave it to me. She found it in a thrift shop and thought, that'll do, Penny. And here I am, and it's perfect. So listen, let's move on because I want to get to the word for the week. And then I want to get to the tarot card for the week ahead. So, hi, Andy. So I hope it went well. You missed your daughter was in a ringette tournament. I got it right at the beginning then. And the windstorms knocked out power for 12 hours. It's been a struggle to have cell service. My God. So you've got really stormy weather. My God, that feels like I should break into song, but I can't because I'll be copyrighted if I sing stormy weather. So I can't sing it. Wind. Wow. Wow. This is interesting. Wind. Winds of change. You know what my word for the week is? Change. It just came to me in a kind of flash this morning. I thought, what's my word for the week going to be? And I thought, change. Because there's something about the energy at the moment, and especially the energy of next year, Pluto in Aquarius, all of us are going to experience significant change over the year ahead. In whichever way, whatever way, we will experience change. I mean, we always experience change to a certain extent, but this is different. This is very different. Andy, you're in West Kelowna, BC, and you're in Vancouver. How exciting. I definitely have to come and see you at some time, Andy. I'll work on that. Maggie, you're still trying to get rid of stuff. Books. Oh, I know. Tell me about it. It's terrible, isn't it? But listen, the word change. What does change mean to you? Give it some thought this week because we're always changing. Timelines are changing us. Nothing is ever staying the same. And there's something about staying in the present and how things change imperceptibly when we stay in the present moment. And so the quotes that I got for change from good old Chat GPT. It's wonderful. Mahatma Gandhi said, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." So, Parry, you're saying change is inevitable and constantly happening, but it is very different now as a species with evolving into a more positive and humane civilization. Yes, Jam LeBlanc, hopefully for the better, the world and people. We are even changing at the cellular level. Spot on, Ursa 7. Spot on. Cosmic BL, you're saying you hope you can withstand the changes. Fixed sign ascendant, fixed sign in a relationship with a third fixed sign. I know what you mean. I've got a fixed sign as my sun and a fixed sign ascendant, but I've got a mutable moon, so I go a little bit emotional. And Heraclitus said, whoever he was, change is the only constant in life, and ain't that the truth? Charles Darwin said, this is quite interesting actually, it is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. And I remember reading this in regard to, for instance, hostage situations. And we mustn't forget that there is an ongoing hostage situation in the Middle East, in Israel and Gaza and Palestine. And I think it's really important to keep these people that have been separated from their family for well over a year in our thoughts and prayers, and hope for a peaceful resolution to the situation in the Middle East. But you know, one of the things that they say about hostage situations, situations of crisis, trauma, the people that adapt to the situation are the people that survive. You keep a low profile, you change, you learn to adapt. You adapt, adapt, adapt. And in a sense, that's what we have to do with life, because things are always changing. And when we are fixed energy like Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, it is very difficult to adapt. Whereas if you're mutable energy like Gemini, what are the mutable signs? Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius and Pisces, then it's much easier to adapt and change. It would be very interesting to see the sun signs and rising signs of people that are more likely to be survivors and adapt to situations of war and trauma. And the cardinal signs are probably more likely to not come off so well, which of course is Aries. Oh God, this is my brain isn't working. Aries and all the way around. My brain has completely stopped functioning. Please, someone tell me the cardinal signs. I've completely, absolutely lost the plot. But anyway, moving swiftly on from my Cancer, of course. Cancer is cardinal, and then we move around to Libra, which is cardinal, and finally to Capricorn. Oh God, thank God. That means I am really an astrologer. Oh, I was really worried for a moment that I'd forgotten how to be an astrologer. Cardinal signs are more likely to suffer because they want to have a go. They're not going to let go. They're just going to go and get it, try and get something sorted. And that's not always the best thing. You have to be cunning to survive. You have to be cunning to adapt. So, yes, even though I'm fixed energy, I have survived. And I think that's my mutable Pisces moon that gives me the adaptability to, and also I've got energy in Gemini. I've got Mars and Mercury. So with Mars in mutable energy and Mercury in the sign it rules, it means I'm more likely to look for compromise. I'm going to talk. I'm going to, that Mars gets a little bit filtered down so that I don't get quite so caught in the assertiveness and aggressiveness. So, yes, Manuela, every day is a day for candle for peace for all of us. Absolutely. And I'm just seeing what you're saying, Jam LeBlanc. I think I've learned change because being military, you're a military child, right? Traveling a lot, then married military guy. Yeah. Capricorn. Yeah. And yes, we have to learn to adapt. You're Aquarius and Cancer. Maybe you're in trouble. Not ideal, Poonam, but you'll work it out. Cosmic BL, Mars in Gemini and Mercury in Virgo. Well, Mercury rules Virgo, of course. So it's also in another mutable sign, but it's an earth sign. So it gives you some grounding and some ability to kind of stand back and think. So that's actually quite helpful. And, George Bernard Shaw said, progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Just saying. I think George Bernard Shaw was onto something there. Jim Rohn, spelled R-O-H-N, who I don't know, I have to admit my ignorance on this, says, your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change, and that's by adapting. And then Socrates said, Winston Churchill said, to improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. Interesting, because actually we can never be perfect all the time, because we'll have to keep evolving and changing into something more of ourselves. Then Socrates said, the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. So it's like, don't look that way. We're not going that way. We're going that way. Look forward. Always look forward. Behind's gone. It's finished. Done. Harriet Tubman said, every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars, to change the world. That's beautiful. I love that. I love that saying or quote by Harriet Tubman. And Viktor E. Frankl said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, clearly, we are challenged to change ourselves, which is what I was talking about, adaptability. And then finally, Norman Vincent Peale said, change your thoughts and you change the world. I think it is appropriate, this word for the week and these thoughts for the week, because it's actually appropriate for every week. It's appropriate for every day. We need to look at how we can change and adapt and grow every single day of our lives. And yes, the song Dreamer. Yes, absolutely. Yes, the Harriet Tubman one is amazing, isn't it? I'll read that again for you. Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars, to change the world. Also, being open-minded to have change goes without saying, Jan. Absolutely. So let me finally, we're going to end on our tarot card for the week with my wonderful pack that I've had for about 40 years, which I love using. Being open-minded to have change, yes. Where the focus goes, energy flows. Yes, we can all focus on love and peace, can't we? Attention flows where energy goes is another way to put it. So let's see what our card for the week is going to be. So I'm just waiting for one to fly out. Oh, it's that one. Oh, now this is interesting. Please don't be freaked out by it. It is, in fact, the card that represents death. But guess what it represents? change, the end of one way and the beginning of another. And we have a full moon in Gemini today. So, of course, because it's a full moon in Gemini, it is actually very much about change and bringing something to a resolution, to a conclusion. Joey, you thought I would pull this. How interesting. That is extraordinary. Serge Eugène, Holy Spirit, holy, holy blessings to all of you, sending unconditional love, sending divine love, sending agape love to you all, holy family and friends, and also to you. But isn't that an extraordinary card to pull when I'm talking about change? It kind of makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Because it's a full moon in Gemini. Listen, guys, if you can do one thing this weekend, call up a friend, email a friend, message a friend that you haven't spoken to for a while. Say, hey, how you doing? You came into my mind. I thought I'd just drop you a line. And tomorrow from Medium says big news could start change. Okay, big news may be coming tomorrow. But you know what? Tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow is always tomorrow. But big news can come today, and we can be in the energy of the big news that comes today, and it'll bring change. Hello, Annabelle Sapphire. You're late. Where have you been? Your park had an accident. Oh no, is she all right? Oh, love and hugs to you too. Oh my goodness. Oh, just a little accident. I understand. Okay. Oh, Joey, that's wonderful. Your daughter called last night and said she was moving back. How amazing. I love that tomorrow is always tomorrow, Robin. Yeah. You know, we have to remember that. And again, there was another wonderful Italian song called Domani. Let's forget about tomorrow because domani never comes. Tomorrow never comes. You know, let's forget about tomorrow. Let's remember today. Let's be in the now. There is only the now. The power of now, as Eckhart Tolle said, that wonderful book, The Power of Now. Remember that this week. You know, I've had a week with this friend where time seemed to last forever because I consciously chose to stay in the now and just enjoy the ebb and flow of the way we worked together and the way we moved. And it was a wonderful week. It was a really special energy. And it seemed to last forever, which was the most extraordinary experience and lesson of learning to stay in the now. So remember, when you want to get away from your thoughts that are all about what could, what if, what might, what's going to happen, it's going to be a disaster. When we get into all that overthinking, bring yourself back into the present. Be in the present now, because you know what? Then everything's okay because we're in the present. And remember what they say, the present is a gift. That's why it's called the gift. That's why it's called the present, because present is a gift. So stay in the present. Serge, restoration of all things indeed. Hallelujah. Yeah, I adhere to that. If you want the world to change, change yourself. And you know what they say as well? If the friends around you are not on your team, change your friends. Because you know what? If they're not on your team, they're not your friends. So Christmas markets. Oh, I miss Christmas markets. You get them in Europe. And my ex-husband was German. And I used to spend quite a lot of time in Germany with him, especially around Christmas. And we used to go to the Christmas markets, and I loved it. The glühwein, and oh, it's wonderful, really good time. But I love that Laurie Smith. The guard was death. Annabelle, it was this, but it's about change. It's about endings. And why can't we have happy endings? We don't have to have unhappy endings. Hannah H, hi Penny, Virgo Sun and Leo Rising from Denmark. I have a lovely friend who lives in Copenhagen, and I really hope I can visit her soon. Yeah, good vibes in markets. Absolutely. Listen, guys, we've reached our hour. I'm going to bring this to a close. Otherwise, you'll have me wittering on for hours. And as much as I love wittering to you, the death of the old ways, bring in the new and better. Absolutely. Have a fabulous week, everybody. I will see you all next Sunday, where even though the solstice will have already just happened, I will be focusing on the winter solstice and the chart for the winter solstice energy. And I'll put a post up on my channel of the chart so that if you want to download it or take a screenshot of it to have a look at the chart of when the sun actually moves from Sagittarius into Capricorn, you can look at it for when I'm talking about it in the Sunday Night Live. So yes, have a wonderful, happy week ahead. It's been so lovely to see so many of you here. Bless you all. Namaste. My heart to your heart in that eternal figure of 8. By the way, the cats are all really good. George is super happy. He's really integrated back into the family fold very well. And let's hope we have a fabulous week. And I look forward. Don't forget, please like, comment, subscribe, and go and check out my overview for 2025, where all your zodiac signs are time linked in the description box underneath the overview. The overview is long. You might want to skip a bit in the middle, but go to the bit where I do the chart at the end, which is about half an hour's worth left at the end, because that is really interesting, because it's a point in time. And I think I'll see if I can timestamp it, because and Jem, if you're watching this, maybe you can go through it, honey, even if you're watching this on catch up, and put a timestamp for the bit where the chart comes in on the overview. And listen, love you guys to bits. You're all friggin' awesome. And I really look forward to seeing you next week, and have a great rest of the day. Loads of love. Bye for now. Bye, guys.